Hi everyone, this is Maya Zahira with PsychicProtectionSanctuary.com, and in today's video I would like to give you a brief lesson about the progression of psychic attack. These are the 3 levels of progression of spiritual warfare or psychic attack. In other words, psychic attack or any type of spiritual warfare does not usually go from 0 to 100 instantaneously. It usually builds in these 3 levels that I'm going to describe to you today. Now, why this is important for you is that if you understand, especially at level 1, what's happening, then you can take actions to mitigate the negative spiritual activity. You can keep yourself calm and grounded, and then you can hopefully keep things from going on to level 2. So you might want to grab your notebook and take notes. So step number 1 that happens in a progressive spiritual attack. Step number 1 usually involves some type of personal drama, an increase in personal drama, or some type of personal emergency, more stress of any kind, work stress, home stress, personal stress. And what I noticed is that it seems like people are coming out of the woodwork to create drama that has like nothing to do with you. And the idea is to get you off balance and upset and stressed out so that your energy becomes depleted. When you're off balance, you're not going to be making the best choices. And when you're off balance and your energy is not as strong, then that's when level 2 starts. Okay, so let me stop before I go on to level 2 and just explain. Level 1 is super important because when you realize that there's all this unnecessary drama or there's these emergencies going on, yes, sometimes life happens. I mean, that's true. Sometimes it's just life. Weird stuff happens. But no matter if it's just life or if it's spiritual warfare attempting to ramp up, dark forces are messing with you, trying to get you off balance. Either way, it's always important to maintain your sense of calm. Easier said than done. I don't always succeed in it, but it is important to try to stay grounded. It's important to remember, to have like this way of evaluating the situation where you're not getting sucked in emotionally, where you're not getting sucked into the drama, where you can evaluate and say, I notice there's a lot of extra drama, or I notice there's this situation or that situation. That's interesting. It's almost like it's intentionally ramping up in order to get me in a super triggered state or to get me physically or emotionally run down. Interesting. So when you notice that, then you can, it's like knowledge is power. You can maintain your focus and you work on resolving the issues, or even distancing yourself from some of the people that are bringing some of that drama. Okay. So now let's go on to level 2. Level 2, usually by the time you're run down and off balance and all jangled and upset and freaked out about level 1, by level 2, if this is a spiritual warfare situation, that's when, in level 2, that's when you'll start to see spiritual warfare types of activity, like unwanted paranormal activity, entities, negative energy. So again, to compare, phase 1 is usually interpersonal. It's really, there's a word that I need to teach a class on this again, secondary psychic attack, where living human beings, people, are being nudged by spiritual forces to mess with you. That's what I call secondary psychic attack. So phase 1 is usually a lot of secondary psychic attack and situations that are stressful, people that are stressful, interpersonal conflict, or stress at your job, stuff like that. Phase 2, that's when it gets into more spiritual aspects. So any of the aspects of direct spiritual warfare, entities, negative energy, having nightmares, feeling like your energy is being drained, that's when you start to see the beginnings of some of the spiritual type of activity. So phase 1, more interpersonal in nature. Phase 2 starts to become more spiritual, more of a outright spiritual attack. If you don't stop it at this point, which has happened to many of us, it's happened to me before I understood these phases, if you don't nip it in the bud, it will get worse. The whole intention of this like dark forces attack, wherever it's coming from, the whole intention is to build into a severe psychic attack, severe spiritual warfare. And that's phase 3. Phase 3 is when all hell is breaking loose. There's probably a continuation throughout of more personal drama, but the spiritual aspects get worse. There's like outright severe spiritual attacks, severe entity attacks, like terrifying, like we're talking severe and really frightening stuff. Like major spiritual warfare is phase 3. That might sound scary, but the reason why I'm teaching you this lesson is so that you understand the progression. And it took me many years of experiencing spiritual warfare. Gosh, I'm trying to think of how many situations I went through, but it took me many years. And it wasn't until about 2016 when I went through a major psychic attack that catapulted me into this work of helping people with psychic attack, psychic protection issues. It wasn't until that time that it finally clicked and I saw the progression, and this is how it operates. So now that you know the progression, how this works, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, you have the opportunity at every step along the way to keep it from getting all the way to phase 3, and maybe to keep it even from getting to phase 2. Okay? So maybe you're already in the middle of a phase 3 situation. No matter what phase you might be experiencing, you can clear all of it. I've helped people with severe situations. So I want to invite you to go to my website, psychicprotectionsanctuary.com. When you sign up for the email newsletter, when you do that, when you take that step, you will receive a free quiz. The quiz is, am I under psychic attack? Are you under psychic attack? Quiz. And in just a couple of minutes, you'll be able to determine what severity your psychic attack is that you're going through. And then if you feel that you need more support, there's a couple of levels. The first would be if you're more of a self-directed person and it's not too severe yet, then I encourage you to get my book, The Psychic Attack Sourcebook, that has a lot of helpful information for those like phase 1, maybe phase 2 attacks. And then If you are experiencing phase 2 to phase 3, then you're probably going to need more guided support, and that would be in my online paid academy. And you can get information about that by going to psychicprotectionsanctuary.com and click on Work with Maya. And you'll see all the information about the academy and what's involved. And of course, you can start off with the book, see how far you can get with that, and then go from there. But really, the first step is knowledge. So go ahead and get the quiz, and then you will have more information about your situation. Always remember, etch this into your brain, these 3 phases, so that as you're living your life, if you have been a spiritually targeted individual, you will know when phase 1, when something is trying to ramp up, when dark forces is trying to ramp something up, you will know. So then you can use the tools in the Psychic Attack Sourcebook or in my paid academy, and you can like literally nip it in the bud immediately so that it never gets any worse. Like, that is truly a life of freedom, when you never have to worry about those severe spiritual attacks anymore. As always, I'm sending you lots of love.